I think when you extrapolate out and you listen to what the president and his cabinet are saying, I have to ask about our 2026 elections. Okay? The president says we should federalize our elections, even though the U.S. Constitution was written by our founders to give that power to the states so that we would never have a president who took too much power and tried to become a king. He's tried to get voter rolls, including in my state. He's complained that elections aren't free and fair. In 2020, he came up with a playbook to deploy federal law enforcement around polling places, and the White House spokeswoman will not rule that out as of a month and a half ago. So I have to ask Mr. Lyons, do you believe that ICE has the authority to be deployed to U.S. polling places around the country?
So, ma'am, we're civil. Obviously, we do civil enforcement and criminal law enforcement. There's no reason for us to deploy to a polling facility.
So
No.
if the president of the United States gets Kristi Noem on the phone and she gets you on the phone and she says, we've heard there's a problem in Georgia or in Michigan or somewhere else, I need you to go and physically deploy around polling locations, you will say no.
There's no reason for us to deploy, ma'am.
Well, then you should say no, right?
Yes, but just point of clarification. Homeland Security investigations, we do investigate voter fraud, which we've made several arrests, most recently a high-profile one in Massachusetts. So just later on.
That's very different than the physical intimidation.
I just didn't want you to say that we don't do anything with voter. I just want you to know we do that.
That's fine. I'm talking about something that I think would be extraordinary in American history, which is uniformed and masked ICE agents encircling polling places. And it's not fantasy. It's not made up. These are things that the president and his cabinet have suggested. They've suggested invoking the Insurrection Act, which would allow active duty military to do the very same thing. So this isn't, someone who thinks the sky is falling. The president and his cabinet are suggesting. So you're going to be the guy standing in the breach.
There's no reason, like I said, ma'am, there's no reason for you to use ICE officers in that.
Great. Well, I hope that in the privacy of that meeting, when that comes down and the president feels like he's going to lose the midterm elections, that you don't buckle.
She was very specific, very direct about whether or not ICE could be at a polling place. And she went into about, like, if it doesn't matter who asks you, doesn't matter, like, what their reasons are, whatever. And he says, we're civil. We're, civil and criminal. And we just don't do that. We don't do that, But he's sort of stammering all over the place. And then he says, but we do voter fraud. If they think migrants are going to try to vote, that is the catch. So I was watching Brian Tyler Cohen and Mark Elias talk, and they were saying that, by him admitting that they're not supposed to be there, there's no reason for them to be there, that's like going to be used later and would be helpful in like a hearing or something, like if you go to court and you sue over it. I mean, what lawsuits are we having now? Whereas Trump is claiming that Democrats didn't win the midterms, and he is fiddling with votes. I mean, he's going to have the physical ability to mess with votes. So what good is a hearing? And really, you're going to bank it all on the director of ICE's admission that they don't do, I don't know. And because he stammered and then he said, well, migrant voter fraud. This is them admitting. This is him admitting the loophole is defined. They have defined it by saying voter fraud, migrant voter fraud is the entire thing they do. Migrant childcare fraud. It's all about fraud. It's all about fraud to go in and do investigations, which is not something ICE does, financial fraud investigations. So I don't understand how this could work. But at the moment, who will stop them? And, all Trump has to do is actually put out a memo that they could read. These are J6ers and Proud Boys and Oath Keepers who are gung-ho about staying in the positions they're in where they get to hurt people and make a ton of money. So, of course, if their president says, you need to continue with the voter fraud thing at polling stations like you did when you tried to stop voter fraud at the Capitol, go ahead and do the same kind of business and I'll protect you the same way I did before. They tell me that you do the exact same thing and they're going to have a different consequence. No, there's going to be the same consequence. And I hope that I'm wrong, because I don't want to have to fight someone at a polling station, but I'll be damned if they try to steal my vote or the other person behind me's vote. I'll be doing something about that. What will you do? Oh, and I forgot. Mark Elias did say that you should, in every state, write your legislators and try to get them to do something in the state. So maybe a pathway to every voting station, something to fight this, because we need to be preemptive. We need to be ahead of it. We can't just allow them to show up and block us and scare people, and then the vote is wrong. That's suppression. So it will be wrong. But we need governors, we need senators, we need everybody out there making a big stink and figuring out how to do it. Use the National Guard, police departments, sheriff, whoever, to just, deputize, who knows, whatever you got to do, put out the call, temporary jobs to just make sure people can get to the parking lot. That's it. Just make sure they can get to the parking lot. Wherever a school or church or wherever they're voting, make sure they can just get there. So I was really glad to hear Mark Elias say that should happen in every state, because it absolutely should. And the way we make that happen is we do that work. We have to call people, we have to write people and try to get them. So like in California, I'm going to write Newsom. I'm going to call Newsom. I am going to write my local people, my mayor, and a lot of other people I'm going to write, because they should get ahead of it just in case. And I know them because they're local. I know that they won't want this. Even the conservatives, they won't like this, because it'll hurt them too, right? What if they're Latino or whatever? It could be a problem for them. So I appreciate that Mark said that. That's a solution we can use, right? And we need more of those. Another solution that I was thinking of the other day is that we are, as women, we change our name. I'm hyphenated, but some people aren't. And so you may need to get your birth certificate and your marriage certificate and your ID together if we are unregistered. And so you need to watch your registration, watch it, rewatch it, keep watching it, make sure your ID and your registration is filled out. It matches perfectly, your address, whatever, the north, south, east, west, your numbers, everything's all perfect. Make sure your middle name, if you use a hyphen, whatever you've done, make sure, because they will use mistakes. That's what they're doing with migrants and trying to disqualify their pathway, their status. They're using little, document mistakes. So they will do that to us too, as citizens, because especially if we're anti-Trump. So help your neighbor, help your family, get them the documents they need, $35, $40 or something, times 2 maybe if you're married, but do it. It's important. The midterms are maybe the most important vote ever.